Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith are both with us now. Oh, good afternoon. How's you two? All right?
Very good. Very good, thanks.
Very well.
Okay. Are you comfortable over there? Everything all right?
We are. We're snuggling up, yeah.
We've got one mic between us, but we don't mind.
No, you don't mind about that,
No,
do you,
never
really?
mentioned
Because
it,
you
not
work
bothered.
for the BBC, so you know the deal.
Yeah, that's right.
We're lucky we've got one microphone between us.
You are in this day and age. Steve and Reece are behind some of the country's best-loved comedy character creations. They are, of course, members of the BAFTA award-winning League of Gentlemen, as well as the writers and stars of the BBC shows Psychoville and Inside No.9, as well as acting in other people's shows. Inside No.9 is back on the BBC Two, in fact, next Tuesday night for a third series, with more darkly comic tales, where each episode explores the goings-on behind a door marked number 9. Your humour, Reece, is interesting, especially to me, because it's kind of dry and surreal and hilariously funny at the same time. And I don't know quite how that's done.
Oftentimes it will be the situation to start with. The situation will be the thing that will kick off the idea behind the story. And it can sometimes be a very mundane thing that we've all been party to, like the first episode of the new series is the paying of a bill at the end of a meal, which we've all been involved in.
Oh, what, with a group of people?
With a group
right?
of people, yeah.
Oh,
And
no.
we heard a conversation we were sat having lunch one day and trying to come up with ideas, and we saw this old couple and they were gently fighting over not who to not pay the bill. They wanted to pay it. They went, put it away, Margaret. No, you got the last one. And we thought that was funny, and how could that escalate?
Yeah.
So we took that away with us, and we wrote this episode that we thought was this row that starts to build and build from something very ordinary, something very gettable. And from there, that becomes a bit more increasingly sort of outrageous. And that's the formula that we often do with these.
Yeah.
Also touches on the sort of hygiene of mints that you get on the bill in restaurants, because they're not always the cleanest things unless they're wrapped.
Steve, we've seen some of this. Don't give too much away.
Okay, well, we
because
do-
it's like peeling back the layers of an onion,
Yes, of
this,
course.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Also, Tuesday's episode has got Philip Glenister in it. He's dark, isn't he?
Yeah, it was great to get him. I mean, we knew him of old, actually. Steve knew him at college days, didn't you?
He was a skinny drama student
Yeah.
when I knew him,
Yeah.
but he always had a bit of magic about him. You could tell he was going to go far.
And you have really strong ideas about who you want to cast.
Well, no, we don't. We write the scripts purely with the story in mind. We're not thinking of anybody in particular. Even ourselves, we don't write because the story will be best served if we're not trying to shoehorn in, well, I've got to have a big part in this and he's got to have a big part. And then at the end, that's the fun part, when we have got the scripts and we think, right now we've got 2 weeks to cast it and who's available. We never really try and fit anybody in early in our minds, because when you don't get them, then you're disappointed. So you just try your best.
When you write these characters, do you write them as stereotypes and then twist them around 180 degrees and make it so that they're suddenly not stereotypes? They're suddenly not what you think they are.
Yeah, I mean, it varies from week to week because we work in different genres. So sometimes we're after a more sort of realistic, sort of psychological thriller approach where the characters are definitely holding back a secret, but they're very seemingly normal on the outside. Other times, like we've got one episode in the new series set in a karaoke booth, which would be some people's idea of hell.
It was filmed.
Well, because we just had to keep playing the same song over and over and over again, and it was Saturday Night by Wakefield, you can appreciate after 24 hours of that.
Try 25 years of it.
But the characters in that are, very front-footed, and they're coming in to have a good time and sing a song, and they're not holding much back.
They're overcooked characters, aren't they? With lots of personality, but there's something that you want to discover about them, and that's
Yeah.
almost part of the fun.
Well, with Inside No.9, each episode usually has a sting in the tail, so you're exactly right. We can keep things from the audience like a good thriller writer would.
Yeah.
If you're reading a whodunit and then on the last page you find out that someone has come from nowhere to be the murderer, we don't tell the audience everything. And also, because they're only half an hour long, you have to be very quick setting your characters up, so that's what we try and do as well.
Now, this series began with a Christmas special on December 27th last year, and then we've got another episode coming up on Tuesday. Tease the other episodes, if you would, for us, Reece.
Well, as we say, we've got one set in a karaoke booth, which is sort of our version of a musical. Via the choices that they make in the booth, we sort of get the ins and outs of that office and their relationships.
It's like a cheap La La Land.
I was just about to say, you're going for that, yeah.
La Land.
And that's colourful, no
Far
doubt.
after. And then we've got one which is with Keeley Hawes, where I play a character that is out jogging one day and he finds a shoe on the pavement one lone shoe.
Well, it's always the way.
And you always see it, you think, what's that about?
Yeah.
And that idea, whose was that?
That's brilliant.
So it's a very ordinary thing. It's happened to us all. And
Yeah.
it was just like, that's, again, the starting point for something that turns into something else. So that's one of the episodes. And we've got one that's set. Steve plays a professor at Cambridge University who's the cryptic crossword setter.
You get a free lesson in how to do a cryptic crossword
And
all within half an hour.
Really a brilliant one. I think it's possibly my favourite one of the series.
Okay, and it gets a bit dark as three-quarters of the way through.
Yes, yeah. It's possibly one of the
I
worst
figured it
ones.
might. Yeah.
Yeah, they all do. But
Yeah.
that one particularly is nasty.
You can see Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith in the 3rd series of Inside No.9. Starts on Tuesday night on BBC Two. That's at 10 p.m. Good to see you again. Thank you very much, both, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's Steve and Reece, everybody. Brilliant.